Okay, these are numbers 51 to 55. Question number 51, they want to know how many people should be summoned, right? How many should be summoned so we get as close as to 60 people in the jury pool. So we want to have 60 people in this jury pool. Now, reading of this question, let's see. Only 40 people of summoned actually appear. So we know that only 40% of people that are summoned actually show up. And of those that appear, 1/3 are excused. So 2/3 are there. Okay, well, if this number right here is 60, and that's 2/3, well, this number here must be 30, right? So there's a total of 90 people here. So 40% of the summoned is equal to 90. So the summoned people would equal 90 divided by 40%, or 90 divided by 0.4, which gives us choice D. Okay, 52. We notice this decimal repeats every 4, right? And we want to find out what is in the 275th place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn 275 over 4. I'm going to see how many groups of 4 are there in this, right? So on my calculator, if I go alpha y equals, and I type in my fraction first, which is 275 over 4, right? Now, it doesn't look like it did anything, but if I go back to alpha y equals and say, you know what? Turn that into a mixed number, please. 68 3/4. So what's going to happen is we have 0.6295, 6295, 6295, and so on. We're going to have a total of 64 of those, and then we're going to have 3/4 of the last piece. Well, I think if we're looking at 0.6295, 3/4 would be 9, right? That's the third spot of the 4. Okay, 53. We want to know what this is. Let's make that better. I know what this is here. When would the answer equal 0? Well, I might try plugging in values to see what works. I think that might make it easier. I'm going to guess, first of all, I'm going to guess a -5. So let's see if f of g of -5 is equal to 0. Well, g of -5 means take function g, plug a -5 in. Plug -5 in, I get -2. F of -2, well, that means take function f and plug in -2 in there. And we get 4 minus 4, which is 0. So -5 is an answer. Choice A is the only one with the -5 in there. That's the way I would go about doing this one. Now, there are other ways to do it too. We could do composite functions, right? We could say is f of function g, and then take this x plus 3 and replace it everywhere we see an x. You get x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 4, and get x squared plus 6x minus 5, which does factor to be x plus 5 and x minus 1. So we could see, yep, that does work out. But I think plugging in was really just as fast. Okay, which of the following has the greatest value, if this is true? So I'm going to pick some values. I'm going to let p equal 4 and n equal -2, because the absolute value of 4 is definitely greater than the absolute value of -2. Okay. I'm going to see which one of these works out. So if p is 4 and n is negative 2, this answer here would become the absolute value of 4 minus a minus 2 over 4, which is 6 over 4, which is 1.5. This one here would be the absolute value of 6 divided by negative 2, absolute value of that, which would be 1.5. So far these two are the greatest. If I try the others by plugging in a 4 and a negative 2, all these answers here are smaller than 1.5. So we're down to just the first two choices. So I think we should try some other numbers for p. How about we let p equal 5 and n equal negative 1. Oh, this one would be the absolute value of p. So when I subtract these, I get 6 over 4, which is 1.5. And if I do the next one, I would get 6 over negative 1, which equals 6. Choice G is what works out. So plugging in values tends to work out pretty well on these. 55. Well, we have to remember a couple things. There's a couple ways to do this. First of all, remember that I is the square root of negative 1. So I squared is negative 1. I to the third is negative I to the fourth is 1. Well, if I take those and just plug them in, right? See, I squared is a negative 1. I to the third is negative I to the third is negative I to the fourth is 1. Now I to the fifth is back to being an I again. So I think these cross out, leaving a negative 1. These cross out, leaving a positive 1. So the answer is letter B. But I'm not sure if you knew this, but you could do this on your calculator. The I button is second decimal point. That's where the I is located. So if I go alpha y equals, and I just type this in, I plus I squared plus I to the third divided by I to the third plus I to the fourth, plus I to the fifth, negative 1.